Sandygate Road 1860, Sheffield Hallam FC. Sandygate Road holds the Guinness World Record as the oldest football ground in the world. It was opened in 1804 as a cricket ground but became a football venue in 1860 when Hallam FC, the world's second oldest football club, was formed. On Boxing Day 1860, it staged the first interclub football match between Hallam and Sheffield FC, making it one of the most sacred sites in football history. The ground is tiny today with a capacity of about 700, but stepping into it feels like walking into a time capsule of Victorian sport. The quaint stone walls and simple stands remind you that football didn't begin in huge arenas but on small, community pitches like this one. Bramall Lane 1855/football since 1862, Sheffield United. Originally opened as a cricket ground in 1855, Bramall Lane first hosted a football match in 1862 between Sheffield FC and Hallam. It became Sheffield United's home in 1889, making it the oldest professional stadium still in use. In the late 19th century, it was a multi-purpose venue that even hosted England internationals and FA Cup semifinals. Today, it's a 30,000-seat ground and retains a special aura. Walking into Bramall Lane is like stepping into living football history, where the sport's transformation from gentleman's pastime to working-class obsession played out. Field Mill 1861, Mansfield Town. Now known as the One Call Stadium, Field Mill has been hosting football since 1861. Its exact history is a bit murky, as it was originally a recreation ground for workers, but it is widely recognized as the oldest professional football ground in the world still in use. Mansfield Town moved in permanently in 1919. Though the ground only holds around 9,000 today, it has been continuously modernized while retaining its historical status. Field Mill has hosted everything from local derbies to FA Cup ties against Premier League sides, standing as a symbol of football's deep roots in smaller towns. Deepdale 1878, Preston North End. Deepdale is often called the oldest continuously used professional football stadium in the world. Preston North End, one of the Football League's 12 founding members, began playing there in 1878. Preston were also the first English champions, 1888-89, finishing the season unbeaten, the original Invincibles. Deepdale itself has changed dramatically, from wooden stands and open terraces to a modern 23,000-seat all-seater ground. The stadium is also home to the National Football Museum, highlighting its role as both a living venue and a guardian of football's heritage. St. James Park 1880, Newcastle United. Opened in 1880 and developed further when Newcastle United were formed in 1892, St. James Park has grown from a modest local ground into a fortress of 52,000 seats towering over the city. For decades it was infamous for boardroom battles with the local council about expansion. The stadium's central location limited its growth, but eventually, its steep modern stands created one of the most intimidating arenas in England. Historic matches include countless Tyneware derbies against Sunderland and Champions League nights in the late 1990s, when Alan Shearer led Newcastle into Europe. Ude Park 1882, Blackburn Rovers. Blackburn Rovers began playing at Ude Park in 1882, making it one of England's oldest stadiums. Blackburn were early giants, winning the FA Cup 5 times in the 1880s, and Ude grew alongside their success. It has hosted England internationals and was one of the first grounds to introduce a double-decker stand. In the 1990s, Jack Walker's investment modernized Ude Park into a 31,000-seat stadium, coinciding with Blackburn's fairytale Premier League title in 1995. The ground remains one of Lancashire's great footballing monuments. Turf Moor 1883, Burnley FC. Burnley have called Turf Moor home since 1883, making it one of the longest continuously used football grounds in the world. Situated close to the town center, it has always been at the heart of community life. Turf Moor retains an old-fashioned charm. Its tight design keeps the noise close to the pitch, creating a fierce atmosphere. Burnley were one of the 12 founding members of the Football League and won the title in 1921 and 1960. Turf Moor is a proud survivor of the Victorian football era, carrying its traditions into the modern Premier League age. Celtic Park 1888, Glasgow Celtic FC. Opened in 1888, Celtic Park is one of the most famous stadiums in world football. Known as Paradise, it has been redeveloped multiple times but always remained Celtic's fortress. With a capacity of over 60,000, it is the largest football ground in Scotland. It has hosted countless Old Firm derbies against Rangers, as well as European nights that are legendary for their atmosphere. Bill Shankly once said the Celtic Park crowd was the greatest he had ever seen. and modern players often describe the noise as unmatched anywhere else in football. Goodison Park, 1892, Liverpool, Everton. Goodison Park was groundbreaking when it opened in 1892. It was the first purpose-built football stadium with features designed exclusively for the game. Everton were pioneers in stadium development, and Goodison has hosted more top-flight games than any other ground in England. It staged matches in the 1966 World Cup, including the famous Portugal versus North Korea quarterfinal. Though Everton are preparing to move to a new stadium at Bramley-Moore Dock, Goodison remains one of football's great cathedrals, with its close stands and historic Goodison Road stand symbolizing traditional English football architecture. Anfield, 1884/Liverpool since 1892, Liverpool FC. Anfield was originally Everton's ground before they moved out in 1892, leaving Liverpool FC to be founded as its new tenant. Since then, it has become one of the most famous football stadiums in the world. The Spion Kop, built in 1906, became the archetype for steep terraces across England. Anfield has hosted everything from title wins under Bill Shankly and Bob Paisley to modern Champions League classics, like Liverpool's 4-0 comeback against Barcelona in 2019. Its recent redevelopment has expanded its capacity while preserving its atmosphere, cementing its place as a spiritual home of football. Tynecastle Park, 1886, Edinburgh, heart of Midlothian. Hearts have played at Tynecastle since 1886. Though smaller than Scotland's giant stadiums, it has always been one of the most atmospheric. With steep stands close to the pitch, Tynecastle is intimidating for visiting teams and beloved by Hearts supporters. Its location in the gorgy area of Edinburgh makes it central to the club's identity. Many Scotland internationals were staged there in the early 20th century, and it has remained a cauldron for domestic football ever since. Easter Road, 1893, Edinburgh, Hibernian. Just across town from Tynecastle, Easter Road has been home to Hibernian since 1893. The ground has seen countless Edinburgh derbies, famous for their intensity. Hibs' European adventures in the 1950s, when they were the first British club to compete in the European Cup, also played out at Easter Road. With its sloping location and passionate supporters, it remains a historic part of Scottish football culture. Craven Cottage, 1896, London, Fulham FC. Craven Cottage is unique in world football. Built beside the River Thames in 1896, its most distinctive feature is the original cottage in one corner of the ground, still standing today. Fulham's ground blends Edwardian architecture with modern updates, making it one of the most charming stadiums in football. It has hosted everything from lower league struggles to Premier League glamour, and its riverside location makes it one of the most picturesque venues in the game. Fratton Park, 1899, Portsmouth FC. Opened in 1899, Fratton Park is one of the few English grounds with 4 separate stands of distinct architectural styles, giving it a quirky, old-fashioned character. Portsmouth's passionate fanbase makes it a fortress on the south coast, and the ground saw its greatest days in the late 1940s when Pompey were league champions. Despite financial troubles and the passing of time, Fratton Park remains a living piece of football heritage. Stadio Luigi Ferraris, 1911, Genoa and Sampdoria. Opened in 1911, the Luigi Ferraris is Italy's oldest stadium still in use. Genoa CFC, Italy's first football club, played there from the start, and Sampdoria later shared it. The ground hosted matches in both the 1934 and 1990 World Cups. Its steep rectangular design with enclosed corners makes it one of Italy's most atmospheric stadiums, a rare blend of Old English style with Italian passion. Estadio Grand Park Central, 1900, Montevideo, National. The Grand Park Central is one of South America's oldest stadiums. Opened in 1900, it has been the home of National ever since. It hosted several matches in the 1930 World Cup, making it one of the few stadiums where football's greatest tournament was born. The ground is woven into Uruguayan football history, reflecting the country's status as one of football's early powers. San Mamés, 1913, Bilbao Athletic Club. Known as La Catedral, San Mamés opened in 1913 and was Athletic Bilbao's home until 2013. It was named after a nearby chapel dedicated to Saint Mams, a Christian martyr. For a century, it was one of Spain's most iconic footballing venues, embodying the Basque-only player policy of Athletic and hosting fierce matches against Real Madrid and Barcelona. Its replacement, the new San Mamés, was built adjacent to the original site, preserving the cathedral's legacy in modern form. Estadio São Januário, 1927, Rio de Janeiro, Vasco da Gama. Opened in 1927, São Januário is Brazil's oldest large stadium still in use. Vasco da Gama built it largely with community donations, making it a symbol of the club's working-class roots. Beyond football, it has been a stage for political events. Brazilian presidents, including Getulio Vargas, gave speeches there. On the pitch, it has hosted some of Vasco's greatest triumphs, and its Art Deco facade remains iconic in Brazilian sport. Hampden Park 1903, Glasgow, Scotland national team. Though technically the third stadium called Hampden Park, the current version opened in 1903 and quickly became one of the most important venues in world football. For decades, it was the largest stadium in the world, with its terraced bowl holding nearly 150,000 people for Scotland v England in 1937. It hosted European Cup finals, the 1960 Real Madrid v Eintracht Frankfurt Classic, and is still the home of the Scottish national team and Scottish Cup finals. Its sheer scale and history make it one of the most legendary football venues ever built. Stadion Cracovia 1912, Krakow, Cracovia. Opened in 1912, Stadion Cracovia is the oldest football ground still in use in Poland. Cracovia, one of Poland's oldest clubs, have played there ever since. The stadium survived 2 world wars and decades of political turmoil in Poland. Though rebuilt and modernized, its continuous use makes it a symbol of Polish football's resilience and history. And there we have it, the oldest football stadiums in the world. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment ideas of videos I should make. But until next time, it's a goodbye.